Hello students, it's Nazia Begum here, your physics lecturer, welcoming you all in today's lecture. Today we are going to start 6th chapter, Electromagnetic Induction and Alternating Current. Before starting this chapter, a very important topic which you all must know is magnetic flux. Okay, so what is magnetic flux? The total number of magnetic field lines passing perpendicularly through a unit area of a surface is called magnetic flux or magnetic flux density and denoted by vector B. Its unit is Weber per meter square, or we can also call it Tesla and denoted by capital T. So here we have one representation of magnetic flux. The total number of magnetic field lines passing perpendicularly through the surface is called the magnetic flux. So here you can see, okay, these are the magnetic field lines, okay, and this is the surface, and here you can see the area of surface, the plane of surface is making one angle with the magnetic field lines. That angle is theta, okay. Here this is the direction of magnetic field. So magnetic field lines are going like this, but according to the definition of magnetic flux are the field lines which are passing perpendicular to through the surface, okay. So if we want to find out a perpendicular line, so this is denoted by B cos theta, okay. Here you can see this is the angle between field and this line which is passing through the surface. So this line can be denoted by B cos theta. Let del A be the area of a small surface element of the planar surface. So the magnetic flux through the surface element del phi is equals to flux density into area B cos theta cross del A, okay, or we can write it like this, B del A cos theta. Now because cos theta is here, so we can write them in form of dot product. So here because dot product is there, that's why the magnetic flux is a scalar quantity, because according to the property of dot product, their resultant is a scalar quantity. See, magnetic field density and area, magnetic flux density and area, they both are vector quantities, but because they both are in dot product, that's why their multiplication results in scalar form. So del phi, which is the flux, is a scalar quantity. This is the equation for a small area del A. If we have to find out the flux through the entire surface, so we write it like this, phi equals to summation of del phi, okay, that is summation of B dot del A or B A cos theta, because when we sum up all the area, so this del A will be replaced by A, which is the total surface area. So B dot A or B A cos theta is the equation for magnetic flux. Now let's discuss some special cases when theta equals to 0 degree, then phi equals to B into A, because cos 0 equals to 1. So if there is no, if the area vector and magnetic field lines, they are parallel to each other, so that time magnetic flux will be maximum. If they are perpendicular to each other, theta equals to 90 degree and cos 90 equals to 0, so that time no magnetic flux will pass through the area, okay. So phi equals to 0 when B and A are in opposite directions, that is theta equals to 180 degree, that time we will find the value of phi as minus AB. Yes, negative value also is possible there. Now after understanding about the magnetic flux and special cases, now let's discuss Faraday's experiment. So Michael Faraday conducted a number of experiments and demonstrated that whenever the magnetic flux linked with a closed loop or a coil changes, an EMF was induced in it and hence a current flow in a circuit. This phenomena is called electromagnetic induction and The EMF and the current so produced are called induced EMF and induced current respectively. And this thing you have already studied in class 10th as well. Okay, in class 10th also we have studied that when the flux through a surface changes, because of that a current starts flowing in the surface, and that phenomena is called electromagnetic induction. That current is called induced current. So here in diagram you can see the setup for first experiment. Okay, in first experiment we have this loop. It is made up of conducting wires. One end of loop is this side, you can see this one, and this is the another end of loop. Okay, and between that two ends we have one galvanometer, which is the device used to measure the current. Okay, right now you can see no battery is attached here. That means we don't have any power source. Now if we place one bar magnet near loop, nothing will happen. Okay, now when we start moving the bar magnet towards loop, that time we can see that in galvanometer some deflection occur. Okay, so what we are doing here, we are moving the bar magnet, and what we observe here, we observe that there is deflection in galvanometer. Okay, now what can be the reason that by moving the bar magnet there is deflection in galvanometer? The reason is that due to this bar magnet a magnetic field produced here, and because of that we have magnetic field lines here which are passing through this circular coil. Okay, it is a circular loop here, so some magnetic field lines are passing through this. That means magnetic flux is passing through this loop. When the bar magnet is stationary, there is no change in magnetic flux, but when we start moving the bar magnet, the magnetic flux linked with this surface also changes, and because of change in magnetic flux there appears one induced EMF, and because of that induced current starts flowing. Okay, and suppose if we move the this bar magnet in the opposite direction, right now this is the direction, if we start moving it in opposite direction, so we feel that in galvanometer we see that in galvanometer the deflection is on left hand side. Okay, so when the bar magnet is stationary there is no deflection in galvanometer. When the bar magnet is moving in one direction, galvanometer shows deflection in one direction, but when the bar magnet is moving in opposite direction, the current also will be in opposite direction, and hence the deflection in galvanometer is in opposite direction. So from here we have some as a result, okay, some conclusion of this experiment. The first one is that this induced EMF exists only till there is changes in electric flux. That means if the magnet is moving, that time only the magnetic field lines will move. Okay, so magnetic flux linked with the surface will change, and then only we can see the current here, induced current here. As the magnet stops moving, okay, the magnetic flux stops changing, the current also disappears. And if the change is in opposite direction, the current changes its direction. Okay, so here by changing the motion of the magnetic flux, we can change the direction of current, and this current lasts only till there is change in magnetic flux. If magnetic flux stops changing, current also disappear. Now here you can see this is the arrangement for the second experiment. In second experiment, the first coil is same as we have used in the first experiment. But here in place of bar magnet, what we are using here now, another coil we are using. And this coil you can see is connected with a power source and a key. Okay, here you can see key and power source. So when we switch the key on, current starts flowing through the coil. You can see this is the direction of current. When the current flows in the coil, so because of current, one magnetic field will produce here. Okay, because of that magnetic field, field lines will be there, and because of these field lines, because they are passing through the surface, magnetic flux will be there. Okay, now if we let the steady current pass through the coil, steady current means there is no change in current, the value is same, so that time we feel that galvanometer is not showing any reflection. Okay, no deflection will be there. But as we start varying the current, okay, as we start increasing the amount of current, galvanometer show deflection. That means when there is change in current, with the change in current, the magnetic field associated with this coil C1 also changes, and if there is change in magnetic field, obviously there will be change in the magnetic flux linked with this coil, and that's why in this coil the current appears, okay, which we call as induced current. If we change the terminals of the battery, then again perform the same practical, same experiment, then what happened? Then the deflection will be there but in opposite direction. Is it clear? On the basis of those two experiments, Faraday has given two laws of electromagnetic induction. The first law is when magnetic flux through a coil changes, an EMF is induced in it, which lasts so long as the change of flux continues. And second is the magnitude of the induced EMF is directly proportional to the rate of change of magnetic flux. Okay, if the rate of change of magnetic flux is more induced current we will see. Okay, so that's why they both are directly proportional. So here you can see this epsilon sign is there. It is denoting the induced EMF, and d phi upon dt is the rate of change of flux related to the circular loop. If we remove the proportionality sign, we introduce one constant of proportionality k. So the equation can be written as epsilon equals to k into d phi upon dt. If d phi equals to 1 Weber, dt equals to 1 second, and epsilon E equals to 1 V, k equals to 1. So that time when we take these units, the k value of k becomes 1. So this equation can be written as E equals to minus d phi upon dt. Now you must be thinking that why this minus sign is here. So that I will explain you when we will study about the Lenz's law. Okay. So right now you simply remember that the direction of E and d phi upon dt, they both are opposite to each other, and that's why minus sign is there. And how we came to conclusion that they are opposite? That is because of Lenz's law. So let's see that law first. So Lenz has given a very important law in the field of electromagnetic induction. First, let's read the statement, then I will explain you about this. Okay. It states that the polarity of the induced EMF is such that it tends to produce an induced current that will create a magnetic flux to oppose the change in the magnetic flux that produced it. Okay. If it is seeming complicated, let's discuss another statement. So another form of the statement is whenever an induced EMF is set up, the direction of induced current through the loop is such that it opposes the cause which produces it. So I suggest you all to learn this statement only. That first one is a little confusing. Okay. So here let me again read this. Whenever an induced EMF is set up, the direction of induced current through the loop is such that it opposes the cause which produces it. Okay. So what is the cause of production of electromagnetic induction? The cause is change in flux. Okay. So to oppose that, what the loop can do? The loop can create just opposite polarity. Okay, let's understand this. with this diagram. So this is one circular loop here, and this is the magnet. Here you can see N pole is close to loop and S pole is away. And here this is the direction of velocity of bar magnet. So when we are moving the bar magnet close to loop, because of change in flux, what happen? Current will induce here. So when the current will induce here, the direction of current will be in such a manner that this side will become N pole. This is N pole, na? This is N pole of bar magnet. So the side of loop which is the phase of loop which is in front of this bar magnet will become N pole, and the other phase will become south pole. Why this side will become N pole? Because when N and N pole will be there, so here repulsion will be there, that means opposition will be there, and Lenz was only talking about this opposition. Okay, so when the bar magnet is moving towards the loop, because here is N pole, so this loop also create one N pole at the side of bar magnet and start repelling this, and try that it will not move further, so that the change in flux will stop and that induced current will also stop. So whatever induced current is here, it is trying to stop the cause because of which it is produced. Okay, and that happened because of this. The current start moving in clockwise direction. So this side become N and this side become S. Is it clear now? And suppose we start moving the bar magnet in the opposite side of loop. So now because it is going away from the loop, that's why the current will induce here. Okay, so now what happened in this loop? The current start flowing in anti-clockwise direction, and the side which is in front of bar magnet, that side becomes S. Okay, so this side becomes S and this side become N. Why it is like so? Because if S pole is created here, so that S pole will attract the N pole and try to stop the magnet from moving away from the loop. Because the bar magnet is moving away this time, that's why only the induced current is produced here, and because that induced current always opposes its cause, so it will oppose the motion of bar magnet away from it and try to attract it, and that's why S side will appear here, so that can attract N pole and the bar magnet stops moving. This type of poles are being created in the loop in the second case. Now I hope you all have understood the meaning of this statement. Whenever an induced EMF is set up, the direction of induced current through the loop is such that it opposes the cause which produces it. Then one more important thing here, that Lenz's law is basically based on principle of conservation of energy. Okay, so here we have seen that when the magnetic flux through a closed loop changes, an induced current is set up in it. The observation may lead a layman to conclude that electricity or electric current has been created out of nothing, but it is not so. Here when we were discussing about electromagnetic induction, so what we were feeling, that automatically the electric field is coming there. The cause is change in magnetic flux, but it has been created out of nothing, but it is not so. It is essential due to the transformation of mechanical energy into electrical energy. So when we are moving the magnet, okay, so that time what happened, mechanical energy was being converted into electrical energy. The mechanism of the transformation is as follows. So two types of mechanism was there, were there. When the N pole of the bar magnet is moved towards the loop or the coil forming a closed circuit, the induced current flows through the circuit to oppose the increase of magnetic flux through the loop. So in case of opposing, they are somehow balancing the energy among them, okay, energy between them. So we can say that Lenz's law depends on principle of conservation of energy. So this is it for today's lecture. Rest things we will discuss in next chapter. Till then, goodbye, take care, do some productive work, and the most important thing, be healthy, be safe.